Welcome one, welcome all to Miss Cassidy's Monday Musicality. We've been a little out of sync this past few weeks due to some technical difficulties and some sad news. And I opened this week with the wonderful Pageant and girl power, purely on the basis of the sad of yet another great loss. Last week we commiserated and remembered all the music of Leslie Bricusse, who will be fondly missed and remembered for a long, long time. And this week, following Halloween and fireworks night, the loss of a real firework, a man who was empowered by his nonchalant attitude and his gusto and his wonderful presenting over the years in shows such as Name That Tune and Give Us a Clue, and in feature films such as A Hard Day's Night and The Cool Mikado, and of course featured more recently in things such as Celebrity Big Brother and hits and musical varieties and the royal varieties over many, many years, including our opening number today. I've mixed it up from our usual overture of Some Like It Hot to play a little Pageant. Of course, the original London production, I saw Lionel Blair at the Vaudeville Theatre with a host of wonderful, wonderful girls playing Miss Bible Belt and Miss West Coast and Miss Industrial Northeast and Miss Texas and all the gals of the pageant that you've grown to love over the years. And for all the girl power that was supplied to the wonderful Lionel Blair when he was in London with that hit show, well, a few years ago, I thought it appropriate to open with a number remembering a man who was a master showman and indeed a great, great talent who taught all of us so much in the studio, who tap danced alongside Sammy Davis and Bruce Forsyth and all the wonderful, wonderful stars presenting alongside the wonderful Una Stubbs, and a man who I want to take just a moment to have a little silence and remembrance for the late, great Lionel Blair. As we approach Remembrance Sunday, and as our generations get a little older, we're going to have a little somber mood here and there for some of our great losses and remembering some of the most inspiring amongst our communities and our stars and our celebrity world, as well as our real world, which of course we've learned as the worlds progress and as education and intelligence grows wider, that some people who perceive the fake world or the celebrity world as unreal, that is some of our realities, as much as the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, the dancers, the singers, the actors, and directors. That's a real world for us as well. So taking a moment to remember some of our elder generations who paved the way and whom without, none of us would be here. Now, on a lighter note, I would like to take a moment to say that I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to do the full episodes as planned. We were a little late on air the week before last, and we took our special memoir of Leslie Bricusse last week as our 36th episode. And today, welcome one and welcome all. I'm going to be cheery and happy for you as best I can to episode 37 of Cassidy's Monday Musicality. Now, I'm going to mix up a few tunes that have inspired me from this past couple of weeks. So we're going to have a few darker moments from the Halloween ghouls and ghosts and devilish delights, as well as some firework moments and all of the wonderful eccentricities of the world that keep us all interesting and happy and don't get us too bored and down in the dumps. So, with that in mind, I'm going to start today's episode with Kiss of the Spiderwoman. Cheetah Rivera premiered in the show back in the early 90s with the wonderful writing of Terrence McNally, John Kander, and Fred Ebb in a show that highlighted the movie featuring Raul Esparza, who was known for Mac the Knife and Guido Contini in Nine, alongside, of course, his great role as Gomez Addams in the many trilogies of the newer Addams family. Well, today we take a moment to remember and think ahead to next year when we'll be putting on stage Kiss of the Spiderwoman in the summer of next year, the late summer of next year, and assuring all of our wise acting folk and generations who have yet to discover some of these shows, I can assure you there's going to be good times.
Flame of St. Petersburg, the final reel. Tatiana Alexandrovna, vedette du cabaret, is singing her final number. All of St. Petersburg is there. The Tsar himself is in the audience. It is a farewell performance, for tomorrow she will become the Countess Ostrovsky.
Nothing but good times. They're going to be scattering those clouds of gray, and all of those bad times, those terrible bad times, are going to be packing up and leaving town today. Whatever was grim is going to be grand. There's going to be good times, nothing but good times. Good times are calling your
dressing room and her faithful maid, Lisette. Madame.
Yes, Lisette.
This note arrived for you.
Oh. Count Ostrovsky has deceived you. Your lover, the student revolutionary Bolshevik anarchist Anatol, will be shot as he waits for you in vain on the Pushkin Bridge this evening at the stroke of midnight. A friend. Oh, I must save him. Summon my troika.
But, Madame, the danger.
Not a word, Lisette. Possible. To be in love is the sweetest thing, Lisette. But to risk everything for love is even sweeter.
Tatiana, my love.
St. Louis Ostrovsky?
How you hate him?
Oh, God.
My carriage is waiting, my lord.
Quick! There's no time. I must slip out the back way. Hold him at bay for as long as you can.
Tatiana!
Adieu, Lisette. Courage!
Tatiana! Cut to dark, shadowy streets. Snow is falling. The wind is whistling. A night of terror. The clock strikes midnight. Tatiana dismisses her troika driver. And as she hurries down the empty, terrifying, night-shadowed streets, her whole life swirls before her. At last, she sees the bridge over the canal, and in the light of a solitary street lamp, her lover. She is in time. She will save him. They will flee to Paris. She begins to run, but his figure seems to recede. It's like a terrible dream. He turns. His eyes light up. He calls to her. Tatiana! Bang! Close up. Joy, not pain, illuminates her features. Courage, not fear, is writ large across her face. This is not death. This is ecstasy.
Anatole. My Anatole. I wanted to warn you.
What have you done for me, my Tatiana?
Nothing. Nothing, my Anatole.
Red blood stains the snowy street. Ah, she's fading fast. But she is in her lover's arms again at last, and somehow, forever.
So, put on a smile. Start waving your hand. Whatever was grim is going to be grand. And there's going to be good times. Nothing but good times. Viva la guerra! Viva la revolución! Viva!
Good times are coming our way. Fade to black. The end.
A beautiful moment in a beautiful show, the melodrama and the wonders of Kiss of the Spiderwoman. Yes, indeed, a beautiful show that hasn't been aired properly in this country for many, many years. And, of course, Vanessa Williams went on to play the role of Aurora after Cheetah Rivera, and a very exciting time ahead into the late summer of next year and beyond. And a wondrous time to be had by all. A little melodrama for all of us that have lived through Revolution and the intriguing moments that have been played out on screen and stage for many, many years. And now to a show which we've yet to play on my radio show, my little podcast, and a show that I know is a very traditional piece and perfect for this time of year. I actually auditioned and had the early workshops of this production, of a production of this show, sorry, and I didn't go on to do the show because I was touring notoriously with my cabaret work, and it was a great disappointment for me because it's a great piece that is, again, a show rarely done nowadays. Something a little more traditional and a little macabre, and suitable for fireworks weekend, as we've just celebrated Bonfire Night and Guy Fawkes and all that goes with the time of year of the darker spirits of the world. Into the Fire of the Scarlet Pimpernel.
David walked into the valley with a stone clutched in his hand. He was only a boy, but he knew someone must take a stand. There will always be a valley, always mountains one must scale. There will always be perilous waters which someone must sail. Into valleys, into waters, into jungles, into hell. Let us ride home again with a story to tell. Into darkness, into danger, into storms that break the night. Don't give in, don't give up, but give thanks for the glorious fight. You can tremble, you can fear it, but keep your fighting spirit alive, boys. Let the shiver and sting you fling into battle spring to your feet, boys.
into terror, into valor, charge ahead, no, never turn. Yes, it's into the fire we fly, and the devil will burn. Someone has to make the rally rush in, we have to rally and win. Boys, when the world say no to my God, you know you've got to march on. Boys, never hold back your step for a moment. Never doubt that your courage will grow. Hold your head even higher and into the fire we go. Let the lightning strike, let the flash of it shock you. Choke your fears away, pull as tight as a wire. Let the fever spike, let the force of it rock you. We will have our day sailing into the fire. Land ho! Someone has to make the baddies rush in. We are the baddies and we. Boys, when the world say no to fight God, you know you've got to march on. Boys, never hold back your step for a moment. Look alive or your courage will grow. Yes, it's higher and higher and into the fire we go. Into fire. Onwards.
Wonderful music and writing there. And you'd never guess I was a fire sign, would you, in the zodiac? Writing by Gert Groening there. Wonderful, wonderful. And Douglas Sills leading the vocal into the fire from Scarlet Pimpernel. Yes, of the zodiac signs, be it air, water, earth, or fire, I am a fire sign. You'd never guess with some of the tunes I pick, would you? A wonderful, wonderful show, and I was gutted not to eventually be a part of the production, but it was great to be in the early stages of the workshops and auditions for that show. Now to a song that was, I believe, nominated for Best Original Song in a Movie Musical of the 1985 Oscars. 10 years after A Chorus Line premiered in New York on stage at the Schubert Theater, the movie was made, and it was a great piece, and by the wonderful, wonderful direction Richard Attenborough, and I beg your pardon, it was 1986, not 1985, featuring, of course, the wonderful Michael Douglas, Zach, and of course the wonderful stars who, without the shows, would not be what they are without our chorus lines, and a show I've worked on many times. But this number in particular, I think, is perfect for this time of year. And it was the original song by Ed Claben and Marvin Hamlish, two of the greatest composers of the past 50 years or so. And a great, great masterpiece was created in A Chorus Line. It has run for many years, and Cats was the show that took over from the wonders that A Chorus Line gave us over the years. And I'm so proud and honored to have been a part of recreating the show for future generations, to create time and time again, as it is a show that's the essence of our business. And for that, I will eternally be grateful to all that were a part of the original creation, Michael Bennett's choreography originally, of course, and those that have been a part of subsequent productions, and the lovely Donna McKechnie and all that have been graceful in recreating it, and Bjork Lee taking it to the far reaches of the other side of the world from the States and recreating it in London and on tour, and for all of us, Priscilla Lopez and everybody that's been a part of this wonderful show, and the recent revival at the London Palladium a few years ago now, with the great John Partridge as Zach, and all of you that have been a part of the show. I've played a few roles on the line, and for my namesake of Cassie, Miss Cassidy, this one is for the surprise in the graveyard.
It was a great deal. I was too scared to feel nervous from trying. Next time we made love, still we were not a hit. I thought of this. Is it everyone's like that? But then we did it again. And I forgot to be scared, I guess, 'cause when we did it again, I closed my eyes. Surprise, 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 surprise. Sweet as in your heart, smooth as a lemon pie, sailing across the sky into the ocean. We liked it a lot. I can't imagine why we had begun to fly, feelings in motion, and then we did it again. I'm thinking, was it beginner's luck, or is it wonderful once in each retreat? Surprise, surprise,
Fantastic. And Oshun that really should have won the Oscar, but the nomination was well worth it. By Greg Berg there, playing Richie in the movie of A Chorus Line. And thanks to Ed Clayman and, of course, Marvin Hamlish for their amazing music and lyrics. And always celebrated so marvelously for all of the future generations that have been inspired by your work. And the essence of how it changed from the movie, from the stage production, because the surprise number was put in where Hello 12, Hello 13 continued, and normally it was Gimme the Ball in the stage production, but surprise replaced that number in the movie, and it was a great number. And Greg is one of the greatest dancers ever seen on screen. I mean, along with the whole cast, of course. So a little bit of surprise for the graveyard of life. And talking of graveyards, we're back to the Bell Grave, of course, in Albert Road. And we have some wonderful happenings, some parties happening on Fridays and Saturdays, selected evenings. So check out at the venue what's going on with selected drink offers from $3.95 for house doubles. And, of course, bottles from $3.90. I just thought that a nice link from the graveyard there in the back to the Bell Grave. And I gotta tell you, actually, a little food review. I went to a lovely little Italian restaurant, which I'd never been to before, situated just opposite Waitrose on Marmion Road in Southsea. Pitigliano, a lovely little Italian place, beautiful decor, great service, and really, really good food. I had something simple. I had a spaghetti carbonara and a nice glass of Merlot, house Merlot wine, and I love a glass of red. And it was delightful. The company was great. The cook was magnificent, and really nice surroundings. So if you get the chance to pop along to Pitigliano, a nice little, quaint little corner restaurant in Marmion Road, in Southsea, along with some other great establishments along the wonders of Southsea and Portsmouth and all that area, and along Albert Road is very similar, if you're not familiar with Portsmouth and Southsea, to the Brighton Lanes. It's got that quaint little feel of nice little boutique places and nice, bric-a-brac places and antique stores and nice restaurants and great food and drink. And that's my highlight of this week, as well as the Belgrave, the Pitigliano. Go get along and check it out if you can, guys, for some great, great food. A real eclectic menu, some tapas. I believe they're doing 3 dishes for £15 at the weekends or selected times. So check it out if you fancy something different and a little more quaint. Great little place there. And for our younger generations now, because it is very quaint and beautiful boutiques and places like that, but also along Albert Road in Southsea, you know, it's quite bohemian. We get some of the greatest artists, some of the greatest actors, musicians, and just folk who want to go out and have a good time with great drink promotions and offers and lovely, lovely people. So I take you now to the modern adaptation of Puccini's La Boheme, is Jonathan Larson's modern 90s musical, Rent. Of course, La Vie Boheme explores how the younger and older generations differ and how things have changed ever so slightly in more recent years. And it also explores how some musicals have stood the test of time and are a distant memory as other musicals take hold. This explores some of the modern generation's views of how some things have changed, and for good reason.
This was not my fault.
Go to hell.
Sure.
You put the cops on standby.
Yes, but I never wanted it to get out of control.
Why did Muffy?
Allison. Missed the show. There was a death in the family.
Who died?
Our Akita.
Evita.
You make fun, yet I'm the one attempting to do some good. Or do you really want a neighborhood where people piss on your stoop every night? Bohemia, Bohemia's a fantasy in your head. This is Calcutta. Bohemia is dead. Dearly beloved, we gather here to say our goodbye. Here she lies, no one knew her worth. The late great daughter of Mother Earth. On these nights when we celebrate her birth, in that little town of Bethlehem, we raise our glass. You bet your ass to La Vie Boheme. Playing hooky, making something out of nothing. The need to express, to communicate, to going against the grain, going insane, going mad. To attention, no pension, to more than one dimension. Starving for attention, hating convention, hating pretension. Not to mention, of course, hating dear old mom and dad. Your bike midday past the 3 suits, to fruits, to no absolutes, to absolute, to choice, to the village voice, to any passing fad, to being an us for once instead of a them.
Passion to fashion to passion when it's new to Sontag.
To anything taboo.
Ginsberg, Gillick, Cunningham, and Cage, Lenny Bruce, Langston Hughes,
Dave, to Buddha.
Buddha,
Pablo Neruda.
or Dorothy and Toto went over the rainbow to blow up their tears. Sister?
We're close.
Brothers!
Bisexuals, trisexuals, homo sapiens, carcinogens, hallucinogens, men, Pee Wee Herman, Sherman, Hunter, Taka, Stein, Antonioni, Bertolucci, Kurosawa, Carmina, Burana, to apathy, to entropy, to empathy, ecstasy, Foxtrot, Howell, the Sex Pistols, ABC, to no shame, never playing the blame game.
To marijuana!
To sodomy, it's between God and me. To SNL,
In honor of the death of Bohemia, an impromptu salon will commence immediately following dinner. Maureen Johnson, just back from her spectacular one-night engagement at the 11th Street lot, will perform Native American tribal chants backwards through her vocoder while accompanying herself on the electric cello, which she ain't never sturdy. And Mark Cohen will preview his new documentary about his inability to hold an erection on the high holy days. And Mimi Marquez, clad only in bubble wrap, will perform a famous wine share handcuff dance to the sounds of iced tea being stirred. And Roger will attempt to write a bittersweet evocative song that doesn't remind us of Musetta's Waltz.
So you see the wonders of Bohemia, La Vie Bohème, and the modern world for all of our ancients and traditionalists out there. The worlds are changed and more understandable of one another, I think. And for some of the traditionalists and purists out there, long time ago, the translations of some of the modern language of La Vie Bohème of the 1990s, as Jonathan Larson so wonderfully wrote, the late, great Jonathan Larson, there was John Hanson many years ago who gave us The Vagabond King and gave us the tales of an ancient France and how the vagabonds amongst us were selling something other than coins and goods. They were selling their love. So you see, no matter what age, things have changed, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse, but the translations are still the same, but with a different language and a different understanding. And I've had a few conversations recently with people about race and sex and sexuality and things like that. And I genuinely think a lot of the subjects that are considered taboo or what people in modern society consider as racist or sexual, sexualist or however you want to put it, homophobic or, biphobic, whatever people are, if they choose so to be, with strong accents and strong views of what they want and what they perceive as the world. My perception of it is that we just have language barriers, The abbreviations of some nations stand so differently because of all the different seafaring nations and different continents that we've traveled to and from over the years. And we all had different slang in different eras. And I hope that gives the world a better idea of how some of our older generations aren't necessarily racist or sexist or, genderphobic or anything like that. Sometimes it's just about the language and how things have changed over the years. My old saying, I've been to most continents and I've had every continent in me. How could I be racist? Think on that one. Here's the overture and Love for Sale from The Vagabond King. The wonderful Julie Bryan, Rudolph Frillm, and Peter Knight. The Peter Knight Orchestra there from excerpts of The Vagabond King. And of course, Love for Sale more recently is known as Lady Gaga has sung in her wonderful Vegas concert and on her jazz album, the Cole Porter version. And I want to take a moment to mention how wonderful the House of Gucci, the new movie, looks. Oh, doesn't it look fantastic? Featuring Lady Gaga and our beautiful name of the fragrance and the fashion designer that has changed the world somewhat. So check that out at cinemas very, very soon. House of Gucci. And Lady Gaga looks fantastic in the role of Patrizia Gucci. Ridley Scott directing, and of course, November 24th is the release date. It looks phenomenal. And Cole Porter made the creation of Love for Sale, as you know it, in the newer version, but that's one of the early inspirations of the Vagabond King, which was created back in 1925, so a little while ago, but made it into the big screen in 1956. Some of the traditional vagabonds out there. And now to some of the more beastly gentlemen of the world and some of the beauties out there. Currently touring the UK in a wonderful remake. It is Beauty and the Beast, where you can see dancing cups and saucers and Mrs. Potts and all of those wonders. And on the more rougher moments of life and some of the more beastly characters of the world, Gaston.
Who does she think she is? That girl has tangled with the wrong man. No one says no to Gaston.
Done right.
Dismissed, rejected, publicly humiliated. Why, it's more than I can bear.
More beer?
What for? Nothing helps. I'm disgraced.
Who, you? Never. Gaston, you've got to pull yourself together. Gosh, it disturbs me to see you, Gaston, looking so down in the dumps. Every guy here'd love to be you, Gaston, even when taking your lumps. There's no man in town as admired as you. You're everyone's favorite guy. Everyone's awed and inspired by you, and it's not very hard to see why. No one's slick as Gaston, no one's quick as Gaston, no one's next as incredibly thick as Gaston, for there's no man in town half as manly. Perfect, the pure paragon. You can ask any Tom, Dick, or Stanley, and they'll tell you whose team they prefer to be on. No one's spit like Gaston, kick big like Gaston. No one's got a swell cleft in his chip like Gaston.
As a specimen, yes, I'm intimidating.
I wanna target Gaston. If I harass, you will get hit. Gaston is the best and the rest is all tourists.
A wrestling match, nobody fights like Gaston.
For there's no one as burly and brawny.
As you see, I've got biceps to spare.
Not a bit of him scraggly or scrawny.
That's right. And every last inch of me's covered with hair. No one hits like Gaston.
In a spitting match, nobody spits like Gaston.
I'm especially good at expectorating.
The wonderful Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, one of our favorite characters. Fantastic. On tour at a theater near you, check out your local theaters and what's happening, and you'll see if that show is coming to you. and to some of our lighter creature comforts in the world. And on screen, of course, the wonderful Mary Poppins that featured the great Dick Van Dyke and the glorious Julie Andrews, and is back in town. Yes, back in London's West End at the Prince Edward Theatre, and a joy to behold. I have yet to see this show on stage. Can you believe that? How naughty of me to not have got along to see this on stage as yet. But the great Mary Poppins is one of my favorite movie musicals, and I thought this would be a joy to behold and remind us of some of the more jolly moments of life. So, jolly holiday it is. The lovely Dick Van Dyke and the Penguins dancing for Mary Poppins. And I thought that appropriate today. I'm reminding you all that it's playing at the Prince Edward Theatre in London, and also because it's so in the style of Lionel Blair and all of our greats that paved the way, Bruce Forsyth et al., and of course, the marvelous Dick Van Dyke. How glorious to hear that melody, and for all our jolly holidays. And from all of our high days and holidays when we're elated and in the most happiest times of our lives, to some of our realities, you know. It's not always glitter and gold and tap dancing and happy times. Sometimes it's knuckling down with the boys in the bar and having a good time with our good old boys of Fagans and Bill Sykes lads and Nancy singing out in the bars and the pubs. And from our jolly holidays to our fine life.
My dear, all in moderation. Too much gin can be a dangerous thing for a pure young girl.
Oh, and what's wrong with a bit of danger then, eh, Mr. Fagin? After all, it's the only bit of excitement we get. And who would deny us that small pleasure? Small pleasures, who would deny us these? Cheap the toddies, large measures, no skipping if you please. I rough it, I love it, life is a game of chance. I never tire of it, leading this merry dance. If you don't mind having to go without things, it's a fine life. It's a fine life. Though it ain't all jolly old pleasure outings, it's a fine life. It's fine life. When you got someone to love, you forget your care. one till he blacks the other one, but you don't dare cry.
Wonderful. A Fine Life. And Oliver and the Boys. And, of course, Oliver and the Boys of Hampshire Boulevard. My love to you all as well, guys. Or HB, as some know it nowadays. But Charles Dickens, of course, wrote Oliver Twist as a masterpiece in the hometown of Portsmouth. Portsmouth and Southsea, our greatest Charles that gave us all those wonderful tales from David Copperfield and the like. Oliver. Wonderful tune, and that was the 1994 London Palladium cast recording there, which my mom and I went to see when I was knee-high to a grasshopper, and she took me along, and we sat in the stalls of the Palladium in awe. One of the beautifulest sets I've ever seen, and I think it was Russ Abbott in the role of Fagin, and Jonathan Pryce had created the role, and just wonderful. How wonderful it was. And is a great show. And if you look on the better side of life, it's a fine life. And a great Nancy I recently saw on stage was just earlier this week in Cabaret at the HB. Mary Goes, hosted by the lovely Cherry Liqueur, who's such a gracious host and a witty and bitter tongue that these ladies of cabaret and drag have these days, hosting the Welsh dragon that was the wonderful Mary Golds, and she was in fine voice and singing out to the rafters such a great Welsh tone, as the Welsh are known for their great vocals. She was terrific. Great to see you, honey. And good to see you still in performance and in cabaret. And all singing along to Any Dream Will Do. And of course, Cherry hosting sublimely to the gang and all of us, ladies and gentlemen, on Tuesday. Was a great night, their regular cabaret night there. But here's one for the boys. For those that have been through tough times, and anybody really, it doesn't have to be for the boys, but as I've been championing the gals, this is for those who have great expectations from their families and fathers and mothers and friends. And as Hercules was told, by the many challenges that are in this wonderful land and this globe that spins, sometimes you have to be reminded that you can go the distance, Challenges around every corner, but don't ever give up on your dreams, your hopes, and your aspirations, because if you stick to what you want, what you need, and what you love, anything can happen and anything is possible. Don't let other folks' words get you down. And remember, you can go the distance.
Sometimes I feel like I really don't belong here. Like I'm supposed to be someplace else.
Hercules, son.
I know it doesn't make any sense. I have often dreamed of a far-off place where a great, warm welcome will be waiting for me, where the crowds will cheer when they see my face, and a voice keeps saying, "This is where I'm meant to be." I will find my way. I can go the distance. I'll be there someday. If I can be strong, I know every mile will be worth my while. I would go most anywhere to feel like I belong.
Hercules, there's something your mother and I have been meaning to tell you.
But if you found me, then where did I come from? Why was I left here?
This was around your neck when we found you. It's the symbol of the gods.
This is it. Don't you see? Maybe they have the answers. I'll go to the temple of Zeus and... Pop, you're the greatest parents anyone could have, but I gotta know.
the wisest words for any youngster on their journey of life. And we conclude this week's episode with some of the stories that we hear and some of the things that we're told. And at some point, we have to wrap up some stories to move on to other areas of our lives. And what happens in a day or in a week sometimes can continue and become something else as time progresses. The fabrications and the extensions of the truth which the world lives through are vast. So I would just like to say, for all of our stories that seem never ending, sometimes certain stories do get concluded and complete and we move on. And I thought a little theme of Steven Spielberg's never-ending story wouldn't go amiss today as we lead up to his brand new movie, the remake of West Side Story, in cinemas this December. And great tale, of course. And this another great tale with Falcor and Atreyu and all the wonders that this book holds in the never-ending story. Lamal there, singing out our never-ending story. And for all of you young Sebastians out there who are on your journeys of life, well, your journey is just getting started. Trust me. And we conclude this week from Guy Fawkes, the musical, appropriate with this weekend's theme. We're finishing this week with Where is the Man for Me? Francesca Leyland's vocals will give you a little insight into something a little different.
His rhyme
Thanks for tuning in, folks. Until next week, those that are going through tougher times, keep a smile on your face and hold your head up high and keep a stiff upper lip because in this world, anything is possible. Thanks for joining us on this Monday Musicality. Until next week, bye for now, folks.